Hey everyone. Ever just drive through a town and think, okay, just another place?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But what if it's not just another place?
Right. There's always more than meets the eye, right?
That's what we're exploring today, taking a deep dive into La Porte, Texas. July 2024, actually.
Oh, cool.
Using their local newspaper, the Porte around.
So like a snapshot of life in that town.
Exactly. And let me tell you, there's some stuff in here.
Really? Like what?
First up, we got the Nguyen sisters. They all graduated from La Porte High School, just a few years apart.
Okay.
But not just graduated, get this, 2.0 valedictorians.
Wow.
And a salutatorian.
All from the same family.
Same family. The Guignon family killing it academically.
Seriously, what's in the water over there? Must be something special going on.
Well, the article mentions their parents were super involved, like teaching them stuff even ahead of what the school was doing.
Ah, so that home environment, that foundation really makes a difference.
It seems like it, yeah. Plus, these girls weren't just studying all the time either. They were in the orchestra, academic decathlon, all sorts of stuff.
Well-rounded, huh?
Oh, yeah. But hold on, because their futures are where things get really interesting.
Okay, lay on me.
So, Lily, she's the oldest. She's already at UT Austin, microbiology major, on the pre-med track.
Smart cookie.
But her research is what blew me away. She's studying these things called heat shock proteins in grapes.
Heat shock proteins in grapes.
I know, right?
What do those even do?
Well, apparently they help protect the grapes from the crazy Texas sun, all that UV damage.
Interesting.
But get this, Lily's work could end up helping protect US from UV rays too.
Really? So like better sunscreen or something?
Potentially, all thanks to studying grapes.
That's wild. Science is so cool.
And hold on, the story's not over. The twins, Lynn and Ann, they're also going to UT Austin.
No way, all three of them.
Yep, they're aiming for health administration. So all three sisters living together in Austin while they chase their dreams.
Man, that's amazing.
Right. Imagine the family dinners at that house.
Lots of ambition, A&D support going around. Talk about setting a high bar.
Definitely. It kind of makes you think, what impact are they going to have on the world?
Yeah, that ripple effect. Inspiring other kids in LaPorte to aim high, too.
Okay, so ready for something completely different?
Sure, me.
We're going to Lomax now. It's this community that LaPorte annexed ages ago,
Uh-huh.
like 40 years or something.
Okay.
So picture this. You got folks living that rural life, raising chickens, goats, peace and quiet, right in the middle of the Houston area.
Sounds nice.
It does, right?
Hmm.
But that whole vibe is being threatened big time.
Uh-oh, what's going on?
Union Pacific Railroad wants to build this massive industrial park on their land in Lomax.
Oh, I see where this is going. Classic development versus preservation, right?
Bingo. And you can bet some residents are not happy about it.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's tough trying to balance progress and keeping a community's character intact.
That's the heart of the issue, isn't it?
Totally. So what's the newspaper saying about it all?
Well, it gives both sides a voice, which is cool.
Yeah.
So the Union Pacific reps, these guys named David Welsh and Richard Zientek.
Right.
They're talking about all the positives, right? Jobs, tons of tax revenue for the city and schools. I mean, we're talking over $50 million.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
And they even promised some green space, plus restrictions on hazardous materials, trying to ease some concerns.
Standard developer playbook, huh? Highlight the financial benefits. But what about the people who actually live there? What are they saying?
That's the thing, right? They're worried about noise pollution, all those trains and trucks running 24/7, even with a proposed 12-foot sound wall.
I bet.
Plus drainage problems. Lomax is really close to this place called Big Island Slough, and they're worried about runoff.
Makes sense.
Oh, and of course, more trucks on their quiet roads.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. And then there's property values, that whole mess.
Yeah, those are valid concerns. Hard to put a price tag on peace and quiet,
Totally. But here's where it gets even more tense, okay? Union Pacific has a backup plan.
A backup plan?
Yeah, like if the Lomax development gets blocked, they'll just build something similar to their Strand Yard facility.
Almost like a take it or leave it kind of deal.
It kind of feels that way, yeah. So what's the right answer here? It's not so clear-cut, is it?
No, not at all. It's a tough one for sure. Makes you wonder, what would I do if this was happening in my town?
That's the question, isn't it? What price are we willing to pay for progress?
Deep stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But, hey, before we get too heavy,
Yeah.
Let's take a look at some of the other stories this newspaper has to offer. Because even with all this going on, life in LaPorte goes on.
Right. It's not all doom and gloom.
Definitely not. And those smaller stories, sometimes they tell you just as much about a place.
Yeah, it's like zooming out and seeing the whole picture,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And this Port Around issue, it really captures that. Ready for some of the more FUN stuff happening in LaPorte?
Hit me with it.
All right, so 4th of July, big celebration, of course, parade down Broadway, this thing called 5 Points Fest with live music, free hot dogs, the whole deal.
Classic Americana.
Oh, yeah. And to top it off, fireworks over Sylvan Beach.
Sounds pretty perfect. Those community events, they really bring people together, huh?
Totally.
Yeah.
And speaking of traditions, the Chamber of Commerce had their annual fishing tournament.
Fishing tournament, nice.
Yeah, hook, line, and sinker, they call it.
Catchy. So what were they fishing for?
All kinds of stuff, I guess. But the prices were pretty good. Trophies, cash. They even had a silent auction.
Ooh, a silent auction. Now that's intriguing. What kind of treasures were up for grabs there?
Who knows? Maybe a vintage fishing rod, a signed picture of like
Yeah.
a famous fisherman.
Right. You never know.
Adds to the fun, though, right?
Cannoli.
Then there was this Main Street car show. Almost 100 cars on display.
That's pretty impressive. What kind of cars?
All kinds. Classics, muscle cars.
Yeah.
They even had live music. This group called Janet Z and Dave Hargraves.
Never heard of them.
Me neither. But gotta support local talent, right?
Sure.
Oh, and food vendors, of course. Texacones, snow cones.
Ooh, snow cones. What flavor would you go for? I'm a cherry kind of guy.
Cuff call. Maybe blue raspberry.
Good choice.
But amidst all the fun, there's also this reminder of the struggles some people face, you know.
Yeah, life isn't always a party, unfortunately.
The Bread of Life food pantry, they were getting ready for this big distribution event. Makes you think, even in a place that seems like it's doing well, there are still people who need help.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder that we got to look out for each other.
Speaking of that, the LaPorte Police Department, they were doing this cops and kids pool party at the wave pool.
That's awesome. What a great way to build some positive relationships, especially with younger kids.
And they're also organizing this Fill the Bus school supply drive,
Mm.
trying to help 600 kids start the year off right with all the supplies they need.
That's fantastic. It takes a village, right?
For sure. And the LaPorte Library, they were busy too. Their summer schedule was packed. The Amazing Race Library Edition, a SpongeBob birthday party.
Love it. Libraries are so much more than just books these days. They're like community centers, almost.
Totally. But this issue of Port Around, it also had some more reflective stuff, like an obituary for this guy named Knox Winford Askins.
Oh, what was his story?
He was a lawyer, a big deal in LaPorte, practiced law for over 50 years, even served as the city attorney for, like, forever.
Wow, so a real pillar of the community.
Yeah. And he was super involved in all sorts of civic organizations, Rotary Club, Chamber of Commerce.
Sounds like he made a real impact.
The obituary mentioned he loved baseball, classical music, opera. It's like even in a small town, you have these people with these rich, full lives.
It makes you think about all the stories that are out there just waiting to be told, right?
Totally. And speaking of stories, there was this piece about a State Farm agent, Frank Nance, celebrating 10 years in business. But it's not just about selling insurance, you know.
What else is he up to?
He's really involved with the schools, sponsoring programs, helping students learn about business, all sorts of stuff.
That's fantastic. So it's not just about making a living, it's about giving back to the community.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that we can all do our part, no matter how small.
For sure. What else is in this treasure trove of a newspaper?
Let's see. Some interesting stuff about health and education in LaPorte. There's this optometrist, Dr. Deborah Bernay, who won this big award.
An award? For what?
For her work with babies, actually. She's a big advocate for infant eye care.
That's so important. You don't think about it, but those early checkups can make a huge difference.
Right. And she's not just doing it in her own practice. She's also teaching at the University of Houston, training the next generation of eye doctors.
Talk about paying it forward.
And speaking of education, San Jacinto College just got accreditation for their mental health and addiction studies program.
That's great news, especially with the need for more mental health professionals these days.
Yeah, it's a growing field for sure. And the article mentions that they're partnering with companies like Kanika Corporation, who have a new tech lab on campus.
Smart move. Gives students real-world experience. A&D connects the college with local businesses.
Win-win, right?
Oh.
Okay, ready for some outdoorsy stuff?
Always.
The Texas Parks and Wildlife Department just graduated their 66th class of game wardens and park police officers.
Those are some tough jobs, man. Lots of responsibility.
Yeah, they got to enforce hunting and fishing rules, deal with emergencies, educate people about conservation.
Important work, though, protecting our natural resources.
And speaking of protecting nature, there's a story about new rules for deer carcass disposal. Apparently, it's to help stop the spread of this disease called chronic wasting disease.
Oh, yeah, CWD. Nasty stuff.
Yeah, they're urging hunters to bury the carcasses, use a trash service, or take the remains back to where they hunted the deer. It's all about being responsible, I guess.
Makes sense. Got to do what we can to keep our wildlife healthy.
And since it's summer in Texas, the State Parks Department had some tips for staying safe in the heat.
Good idea. Texas heat is no joke.
Right. Drink plenty of water, wear the right clothes, use sunscreen, and don't forget about your pets.
No, advice.
Oh, and one last thing before we wrap up.
Yeah.
There were some local election results in this Porte round. Looks like some new faces on the city council and the Harris County Appraisal District Board.
Interesting. Local politics, they might not always be glamorous, but they affect us every day.
Truth. So Robert Guerra, he's a retired police officer. He won the District 4 council seat. And then there's Kyle Scott and Erica McCrutcheon. They won spots on the HCA board.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what these new folks bring to the table.
Definitely.
Man, what a journey.
Right. This one little newspaper, it's like a portal into a whole community.
All those hopes and struggles and everyday moments, it really makes you realize every town has a story.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. About how much is going on under the surface, you know?
Exactly. Like we often just skim the surface of things.
Right, like looking at a town from the highway, but there's always so much more happening.
So next time you think about small towns, remember LaPorte?
Yeah, Laporte.
The Nguyen sisters, the fight over that industrial park, people celebrating the 4th of July, checking out classic cars.
It's a reminder that all these things, they're happening everywhere, in big cities, small towns.
And it makes you wonder, what stories are unfolding in your community right now?
Right. What would your local newspaper reveal if we took a deep dive into it?
What hidden gems would we find?
It's exciting to think about. All those untold stories just waiting to be discovered.
So keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep diving deep, everybody.
Because you never know what you'll find.
And that's it for this deep dive. See you next time.